The Arcturian Group. Dear readers, we bring these messages in love with the intention of providing information and guidance when so many are experiencing confusion, disappointment, anger, and even fear at this time. You are not receiving accurate information regarding what is taking place at this time because the majority of your news sources, one, do not have accurate information, and two, are controlled and not permitted to give the true facts of many events. However, never doubt that a spiritual ascension is taking place. Step away from the three-dimensional fray and be an observer, observing the world process from your highest level of truth. Allow outer appearances to help you identify the false beliefs you may still hold about what you are witnessing. An observer does not ignore, approve, or support what he witnesses going on, but recognizes it for what it is, the death throes of the false three-dimensional energies that have supported and maintained Earth's collective consciousness for a very long time. By acknowledging the reality underlying a material appearance, you automatically bring light to a situation instead of feeding it with more energy. Spiritual surrender is a step in every person's evolution that begins when they realize that in order to evolve into a consciousness of truth and oneness, they must stop supporting the false three-dimensional narrative. It is difficult because it means stepping away from and permanently leaving behind the many well-supported three-dimensional games and concepts that have been a part of one's life and are supported by family and friends. Spiritual surrender is not throwing up one's hands in despair, choosing to give up and surrender to three-dimensional situations, disease, pain, fear, lack, etc., in the belief that you are powerless. Spiritual surrender is surrendering the false to the real. It is a state of consciousness that is ready and willing to let go of anything and everything in the material three-dimensional world that has been accepted as being power and reality. Spiritual surrender is the act of letting go of inordinate attachments to people, places, and things in the belief that they are necessary to one's completeness. A consciousness already filled with three-dimensional beliefs about the lack of what is needed in order to be loved, real, happy, fulfilled, and complete will automatically manifest as the lack of these things, while divine completeness that is already fully present within awaits recognition. Remember, every person is a creator, creating from the contents of their consciousness. God/divine consciousness is, always has been, will infinitely continue to be and express the fullness of itself simply because it is omnipresent reality. The world is filled with appearances that would make you think otherwise, but that is the illusory game humans have been playing for eons. It is very easy to surrender to personal turmoil and trouble and become a victim because it is supported in the third-dimensional belief system. Earth's ascension and the accompanying evolution of mankind is nothing more than the process of waking up out of the dream, a dream that has governed humanity for eons and resulted a universal hypnotism of duality, separation, and powers other than one power. Beliefs based in separation from God, people, and all life forms have been promoted, taught, and kept alive over time through the efforts of those both seen and unseen that stand to benefit from mankind's acceptance and continuing ignorance of their true identity. Even most of today's sincere spiritual leaders continue teaching concepts based in the idea of a God separate from man, who must be somehow reached and reasoned with through their concepts of correct prayers and ceremonies. Sadly, most of them are not open to the deeper and higher truths because they believe they already know it. The ascension process is causing increasingly more individuals to lose alignment with long-held concepts about God, which in turn is bringing about an increased receptivity to higher truth. Letting go of an earlier state of consciousness, regardless of how well it served in the past, is the path to personal and global freedom. Evolving to a state of consciousness imbued with truth and light is the real meaning of the long-predicted return of Christ. True freedom comes from having no attachments to the material world of concepts and false belief. This does not mean you cannot have close friends, be in a happy partnership, enjoy the beauty of nature and the sound of a baby's giggle, love your pets, or own beautiful objects. As free will beings, you are entitled to your preferences and are meant to enjoy the reality of your completeness. By attachments, we refer to the common belief that a person cannot be fulfilled, happy, healthy, or even survive unless they have certain things in the outer world: a person, people, places, things, situations, etc. Attachments exist because the third-dimensional belief system teaches that every person's good is outside of them and must somehow be attained. Personal attachments continue to be promoted as being a good and normal thing through books, film, television, friends and family, and the collective in general. Even if the sought-after thing is attained, it will always be temporary, because the material world consists of concepts of reality, and concepts have no divine law to hold them permanently in place. It is like wearing two-sided medallion with good on one side and bad on the other. A person can strive to always keep the good side facing out, but at some point the medallion will flip simply because it is two-sided, an example of the duality of third-dimensional energy. Because there is only one, it is automatically in alignment with all of its individualized expressions. On Earth, individuals appear to be different and separate, but the one divine consciousness individualized is always in alignment with itself as one. This is love. On Earth, there is energetic alignment with anything that works or functions harmoniously, be it a relationship, job, friendship, entertainment, the food you eat, or even in a gang, and is why you have the saying, "Birds of a feather flock together." In order to be in alignment with the higher frequencies of ascension, almost everyone is in the process of clearing stored dense energy and often re-experiencing it as it moves through. Energy will usually clear through a weak area or the path of least resistance, so if you find an old problem area reactivating, this may be why. Example, a person who died of tuberculosis in several previous lifetimes may find themselves experiencing more frequent coughs, colds, lung issues, etc. If you find yourself suddenly experiencing new physical, emotional, mental, or even spiritual discord right now, you are probably re-experiencing some of the energy that is presently clearing. Energy from accidents, disease, negative experiences, aging, attachments, vows, etc. of the past or even this lifetime. When or if this happens, do not think that you are failing to evolve or are spiritually regressing, but simply remember that evolution is a process and any unpleasant side effects are temporary. Physical pains are often the remnants of past injuries, torture, diseases, or simply the belief in and experiences of age and deterioration. Emotional ups and downs are often signs of long-stored intense and painful emotions created in the past from death and dying, war, anguish, lack, intense fear of someone or something. Mental issues can be the result of a person's long-held and supported belief system suddenly collapsing in conflict with the higher ideas that are awakening within. There can be confusion, forgetfulness, and the feeling of being out of alignment with familiar religious practices and those who support them. You are clearing in order to align with the new and higher energies of ascension. Without resistance, surrender three-dimensional beliefs about how this should be, could be, must be, and what you must do to make it happen. Realize that everything is already complete, whole, and nothing you do can make it more so. False beliefs of separation over time became the personal and collective consciousness of Earth. But the ascension process is offering limitless opportunities to leave all that behind. Surrender to oneness with Source in the realization that it is, always has been, and will continue to infinitely express the fullness of itself as you, if you allow it. Ascension is a free will choice. Allow the process. We are the Arcturian Group.